Hey y'all, I am back for another Scirocco restoration video. If you're new to the series, this is the restoration of my 1985 Mark II Scirocco. I am the only owner of this car. It sat idle for over 15 years, and if you've been following the series, I've been working to restore everything and replace everything I can from the rear all the way to the front. So when I finally made it up to the front of this car and tried to start it for the first time, I blew not only one, but two fuel lines, which made me think all the fuel lines were bad, and I set off to replace every single one. That sent me down the path of pulling the fuel injectors out of the cylinder head, which, if you go back and watch some of those videos, posed a little bit of a problem and led me down the path of actually taking off the entire cylinder head itself, which is okay because then I sent it out to do a refresh. If you're interested in doing that yourself, then I recommend going back and taking a look at those videos. So while the cylinder head was off and being worked on, that gave me a chance to pull the entire CIS injection system off the car, which is basically the unit that sits right on top of the air box and consists of the airflow sensor and the fuel metering system, or basically the whole guts of the mechanical fuel injection system itself. Now, I have to say I really didn't want to do that, but as you'll see later on in this video, I really had no other choice but to dig into that entire system. So with that said, I'm just a guy with some tools in a garage. I'm going to go in and tear apart the entire fuel injection system, or the Bosch CIS continuous injection system, and see if we can rebuild the whole thing and get this girl started. Oh yeah, and if you like this series, you like what I'm doing, or you just think I'm mildly amusing, I'd really appreciate it if you give me maybe a thumbs up. If you throw me a comment down below, tell me what I'm doing right, tell me what I'm doing wrong, maybe throw me some encouragement, I'd surely appreciate it, because I want to get this thing started just as much as you do. So, without further ado, let's get into it. One fuel metering system. Okay, so here is an expanded view of the CIS fuel injection system that's on this car. You basically got an intake air boot at the top, which then connects to the airflow sensor shown here. This fuel distributor is attached to the airflow sensor. That assembly is then mounted on top of the plastic lid, if you will, to the engine air filter box. So underneath here would be the air filter for the car itself. So this is what I'm going to be working on in this video. We'll be taking this apart as far as we need to get in and see what the problem is and why this car wasn't starting. Finally, there's some really good videos on YouTube that describe in detail how the Bosch K-Jetronic CIS system works. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I would encourage you to go and watch those videos. That doesn't look too good.
No shit, Sherlock!
So we've got the intake boot taken off, and I have to say, this doesn't look real good in here.
Ew.
Definitely needs to be cleaned. I believe this should be able to... Oh, this isn't moving.
What?
That's interesting. So this plate moves a little bit, but it is definitely not free.
What? Exactly.
As I've seen in other videos, and you can take a look at the varnish that's in there for how many years. So let's see, I'll come to that in a bit, but let's go ahead and take the rest of this off and get the metering head off, and then we can get this off of the airbox and clean it up, hopefully, on the back end, and clean the airbox lid up and put the new gasket on. You can see what a mess this thing is. Turning it on the other side, lots of what I would call varnish. I don't know if that's what it is, but certainly smells like fuel. And this plate is not moving freely. So there's a bearing that's in here. I'll see if it's moving freely once I get the fuel metering head off of it. And then there are bearings here and here, here and here for the shaft, which apparently you can get to through these ports. Got these retaining clips, and then you can get in there. I really don't want to do that. I'm thinking that I remove the plastic airbox and then get the metering head off, and then just take this thing outside and blast the crap out of it with some carb cleaner and see if I can clean this up a little bit, both on top and underneath, and hopefully loosen up whatever is making this stick, because this I believe should be free moving, and it's definitely not moving up. I see 1 bolt, 2. This is the one that we just took off that was on this guy right here. 3, and then I've got 2 over here, which I guess were associated with that bracket. So I think taking these remaining 3 off ought to be able to lift this whole thing up. So I have to say, this room smells like rancid fuel. Just like when we took the gas tank off. These aren't on very tight, which I've kind of seen from other videos. Alright, so we got to the point where all these bolts are out. I don't know how I'm going to separate this from the plastic part. It seems to be stuck on there pretty well. I think what I'll do next is try to get out these 3 screws holding the metering head on, and then directly underneath there's a plunger that apparently you have to be very careful. Number 1, not to drop and scuff up, but make sure that it doesn't come out. And I'll be very interested to see how easily or not that plunger is moving within this metering head. Okay, so there's the plunger. There's the plunger. You can see there's some rust on the bottom of here. Yeah. That plunger is solid. It's not moving at all. Wow. Yeah, this thing is super gummed up.
That's disgusting.
Not moving at all. So, I really didn't want to take this apart. But see, this plunger is supposed to be moving in and out.
That's what she said.
And it is just rock solid. There is an O-ring right here. Here's the top of the flow head, and there is an O-ring right here, which actually is pretty pliable, I have to say. I'm going to take it off and lay it. Yeah, not too bad. After all these years, actually pretty pliable.
Yes! Hell yeah!
Okay, so here's this bearing. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is completely seized.
It's got varnish on it. I'm not moving it at all, so this thing is seized up. This thing is not moving. So we got a little bit of work to do.
A few moments later.
So while I was sitting here lamenting my issue with the metering head, look what happened. We've got movement.
What?
So let's see, at this point a couple things are starting to make sense. The fact that there was a severe amount of varnish on the control rod in the metering head and a moderate amount of varnish sort of all over the airflow sensor, it's not surprising that the car wasn't going to start. Secondly, because everything was so gummed up and stuck, the fact that the fuel pump kept sending fuel up through the fuel filter, it's not real surprising that those fuel lines burst.
The wild theories, conjecture, and lame hypotheses presented in this video may or may not represent the truth, as known by real VW mechanics, those who have come across this situation before, or people with brains and the ability to think in a logical manner. Remember, the presenter is just a guy with some tools and a garage. Thank you.
All right, back to the video.
So, everything is super sticky.
Oh, look at that.
In here though, but at least now we do have movement of the plate, and that is a good thing. If I can figure out how to separate these two, yeah, see, there you go. There it is. But hey, at least this is moving now. That's a good thing. Tomorrow I'll probably go out and shoot some carb cleaner all around there.
Oh, look at that.
See if I can get it cleaned up. I really would like to get it off of this plastic mount and get that plastic cleaned up, but we'll see how it goes. So at least that's one thing. This thing is going to be a whole different can of worms. I really don't want to get into that, but I guess it is what it is. There we go. There we go. And yes, there we go. And she's moving. She's alive.
It's alive!
Alive. Most excellent. Alright, and this piece looks pretty good. It's got a little bit of oil on here, but overall I don't see any cracks. A little dirty. Excellent. Put this back on here and be super careful with it. Yeah. Well, these things have been cleaning for a while. I've been helping with a very soft brush, and let's see. Woo-hoo, baby, look at that. Look at that. That came out so nice. Still not perfect, but let's take it out. Ooh, yeah. Yes, sir. Look at that. That is so much better than it was. A lot of that gum is gone. This thing is moving nice and easy. I tried to get inside here the best I could. You can kind of, well, maybe you can't tell, but it looks a lot nicer inside of here. So I am super happy with this. Right now this is just the simple green. You can see how dark it is and some water. I am going to just let this dry the way it is tonight, and then when I get up in the morning I'll take it outside and spray it off with some carb cleaner and really get inside here and try to get in these pins and whatnot. But wow, what a difference from where I started to where it is now. Super happy with that.